Here at Fight Night Picks, we've been rocking the flyweight never die for the longest time, since about 2018 when the show started. And listen, flyweight never die. We've got a great fight between a couple of debuting fighters in Jefe, Molina, El Jefe, taking on, and listen, for everybody at home, this is going to be a little bit of a class. I even checked with a recent interview from the South China Morning Post, our friend of the show, JHK MMA, and he said, yep, you got it. So, it's Aoriqileng, not Aoriqileng. It's Aoriqileng if you're going with the pronunciation. And he's coming out of the UFC's PI. He was one of the Academy winners. There are 3 fighters from the UFC Shanghai PI competing on this card. You have Liang, you have Aoriqileng, and you also have Rongzhu. And listen, the Mongolian Murderer, what a fun fighter to watch. Holy smokes. Can this guy absolutely finish a fight? You want to go back and see a fun one? It was his last time out, not that long ago, back in January. He took on Khizri Abdullayev, knocked him out in the second round, and listen, it was just an absolutely crazy left hook in close to the cage. Dropped him, referee hopped in, that was all she wrote. But plenty of finish wins on his record. Really nice wide stance, decent wrestling, very heavy on top, and just overall a well-rounded fighter, a guy that you like to see. Now, he will kind of tend to give one to take one. He'll end up with quite a bit of pressure. He's taking on a really, really dynamic fighter in Jeff Molina, and you can laugh and snicker all you want over on the Instagrams. This was a guy last year that won a couple of awards with his gym, Glory MMA and Fitness. He was the best teammate. He was the most improved fighter. And he really put it on at the end of last year. And I mean, you look at it, he gets the win over Jacob Silva in Contender Series back in August. It was a decision win. And normally, decision winners, do you end up in the UFC? Dana White was really impressed with him. Molina said after the fight, he was walking around, he's like, listen, I broke my foot in the first round. It is what it is. It was a really, really good win for him. But apart from that, this guy's an absolute finisher. You look at him too. I mean, he started his career off 1-2, and since then, he's won every single fight impressively, even in that decision. Very young fighter coming into this one at 23, almost 24. Matt, I absolutely love the fight. I think stylistically, this is a great one. A very exciting fight at 125 pounds. I can't wait to get your thoughts.
I know we both love the flyweight division, and I think the thing that I love most about the flyweight division is the fact that really only 1 or 2 wins can get you into that top 15. And I do think we're dealing with 2 very exciting young prospects who do have a chance to get into that top 15. Now, I'm not saying win this fight and then you're ready for Brandon Moreno or anything, but just this division is so talent stacked that really anyone in the division could beat anyone in the division, regardless of ranking next to their names, and that's why it's so exciting. You had mentioned a little bit about Jeff Molina and just how well-rounded he is at such a young age. And the great thing about Molina is he fights like a fighter who is much older than he already is. We talk a lot about, oh, well, this fighter, we like a lot of things about their game, but oh, if they could just get it all together, Well, at the age of only 23, Jeff Molina doesn't have everything together, of course. He is still a very young fighter, but he fights with the maturity of someone who has had more than just 10 professional fights to their names. One thing I really like about Molina, we were kind of joking about it, I compared him to Zion Williamson, because one thing I really like about Zion is that when he shoots the ball, if he thinks he's going to miss it, he's already got that second jump ready to go up for the rebound. The thing I really like about Molina and his kicking game, to be more specific, is the fact that Molina, he'll throw a kick, and even if you do block it, I think about Israel a little bit, where Israel all of a sudden throws the right kick, and as he's bringing the leg down, he throws the right hand. But with Molina, as he's throwing the kick, when he's bringing that down, he's already got another kick ready to be chambered and go right back in. And this is a really neat thing to see from a prospect, because normally you don't see those same side attacks from guys so early in their career. Really, you don't even see it from guys who are into their 30s, who are ranked. So it's just a really nice wrinkle to see out of a guy who is so young in a division that's just so exciting. And for Aoriqileng, that's the really fun thing. He's going to bring a lot to this fight that Jeff Molina just won't be used to. Now, the one thing about Aoriqileng that I don't love about his record is, it's not that his record's padded, but I wouldn't say he's fought the best level of competition the whole way through. He's fought just a lot of good fighters. And the one thing that we always say is, it's not enough to just beat guys, you have to beat them impressively. Now, the good thing about him is that he has gone out there and finished the majority of guys that he should be at least supposed to win. You hate to say he's supposed to win an MMA fight, but when he is in there against the guys who are the 3 and 5s, the 5 and 1s, normally he is the one finishing them, which is, you know, what you really like to see. So I could not be more excited for this fight at flyweight.
I mean, yeah, that's actually a weird thing. So 11 of his 18 wins are by decision. He's got 6 by knockout, but he's on a 6-fight win streak, and out of those, 4 of them are by finish. So it is starting to pick up a little bit. And if you look at it, it's weird, right? Because you look into his third pro fight, he lost to Grigory Popov, who ended up in the UFC and went on an absolutely awful run, but he was late in his career. It was weird. Again, you never know what you're getting from WLF Wars. You get an absolute diamond, you get an absolute dud. And you look at another one of the fights from WLF Wars in 2017, it was a unanimous decision loss to Kai Kara-France. So in the middle of all of the fights, there are some decent fighters, but you look at it in that 6-fight win streak, 3-3, 18-16-2, 10-3, 4-4, 5-3, 5-1. Khizri Abdullayev and Amiran Amirov in his last two. Pretty decent wins. And the other thing that I like about it too is the fact that we're basically talking the end of 2018 until 2020. Very active as well. So you do like to see that out of Aoriqileng. And in a fight like this, it is really difficult to try and kind of give you a great prediction because, again, the fight tape's out there. You take the characters next to Aoriqileng's name over on Tapology, pop them into Google, translate the page. You're going to find tons and tons of fights. But it is kind of tricky. I mean, for Jeff Molina, he was supposed to compete back in January. It didn't happen. He was supposed to take on Zaruk Adashev, which honestly would have been a way easier fight than this fight because Jeff Molina is very well-rounded and Zaruk Adashev is a striker. And, well, that's about all Zaruk Adashev
Pretty much.
So I look at that. He was out due to COVID, and his exact words in, well, another interview with JHK over with SCMP MMA, his words were, me up. So yeah, it can happen. And even went as far as like saying, and I'm paraphrasing, it's not that bad, it won't be that bad, and if I get it, I'm healthy. And it's not, and it was pretty bad for him. So if it ruined one of my favorite pitchers, Eduardo Rodriguez's full 2020, then it's probably pretty friggin' bad. But Jeff Molina had it. Unfortunate for him. Great to see him back. He predicts a second round finish in this fight. That's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough.
It is going to be tough to get the finish, but the one thing you do like about Molina is that, A, he can get it done on the feet, but he's also very adept on the mat as well. This is a guy who, a lot of his submission wins do come from the fact that he can hurt you on the feet, then submit you on the mat. And I know I'm feeding that fat horse, but it's a wrinkle in people's games that you don't see it that often, but it is just a great sign. If you have the ability to hurt somebody on the feet and not wear yourself out going for those TKO finishes where, oh, I'm getting a lot of arms, and oh no, the guy survived, what am I going to do now? The thing about Molina is that he can just go to a submission after it does get on the mat. So personally, I really do like Jeff Molina in this fight, and I do think he's got the higher ceiling out of these two, but I think this will be a very fun fight early on this card.
I have a really hard time with this one. So let's talk about the odds because it's pretty much a pick'em fight. I mean, Molina opened a -105 favorite. He's now a -109. Aoriqileng open at a -115. He's a -113. So I should say that the fighter out of China is the favorite in this one ever so slightly. If we look at the Tapology votes, 864 of them, 63% going with Aoriqileng, 74% by decision. The 37% that have Molina, 72% by decision. You get the Mongolian Murderer taking on El Jefe. If it was a battle of the nicknames, it's an easy pick. 9 times out of 10, I'm going with Mongolian Murderer. El Jefe's all right, but it is what it is. I do have a really hard time with this fight, Matt. Obviously, it's a coin flip in terms of the odds. It'd be easy for me to just take the cop out of saying over. I'd say even over like 2 rounds, but I'd like to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I just think Molina is the more well-rounded out of the two, and the fact that he has fought the slightly higher level of competition. Now, the experience factor does not favor Molina, but I do think that's one of those things that you haven't done it until you have, and I do think that this will be his opportunity to really get a good win under his belt and really introduce himself to the UFC audience.
If Aoriqileng threw more kicks, I'd like him a lot more in this fight. And listen, as far as the wrestling's concerned, I definitely favor Jeff Molina. And to correct myself from earlier, he was the 2020 gym breakout professional. He wasn't the most improved. He was the gym breakout professional from the James Krause. And you'd say, hey, Craig, his real name's James Krause, but his nickname's The, and it's the worst in all of MMA. Mongolian Murderer is way better than that. I have a hard time. I am going to go ever so slightly with Jeff Molina, but again, if you're going with Aoriqileng, way to go. I could definitely see a path for both guys. Maybe something crazy happens during this week. Maybe I end up switching my pick over in question mark kicks. We'll see what happens. I'll watch more of that fight tape that's very, very hard to find, but it is there. But for right now, both of us going with Glory MMA and Fitness's Jeff Molina to get the win. I can't wait for this fight. This is so well matched and so interesting out of 2 fighters making their respective UFC debuts. Can't wait for it. 3 title fights up at the top. You're not going to want to miss the rest of our UFC 261 coverage. So keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. And as we always say, let's get into it.